Good morning everybody, and this is your SP 500 setups for today. So big day today. We have the Feds coming out, and I just want to put these three levels on the 8 hour that we need to pay attention to at the moment, and those are them there. Now a couple of scenarios here. First scenario is we do have a fairly tight channel that is forming here. Could be a flag. Be very cautious of that. The oscillator is indicating pullback onto structure. We are in a downward trend. That is a given. That's kind of what we're looking at. The monthly bar, as I said yesterday, high probability of a tail forming. There it is there. And I just want to put this monthly level in because that is of extreme importance at the moment, and that is this 4100 area. So looking at this on the monthly, three soldiers, three ladies, whatever they call that, three red bars in a row could be the start of a downward trend. There's a big inside man, big hanging man there. Granted, but at the moment, we had a strong move up, we had a volatile pullback, which formed a flag. We had a flag break, and we've had a pullback to test a flag. That's kind of the one setup. We'd have to drop below these lows here from last year before I'd even start looking at a bigger move down to what some people are screaming at, of like 3,000 and 2,500, etc. So that's a scenario we have there. If we look at the weekly, still very, very strong flag setup here with a fake out below the bottom of the flag, and we know that when that happens, there's only a 25% probability of it continuing. There's a 75% probability of it moving to the top of the flag, and then a breakout. So if we do get a breakout here, it is going to be a extremely, I won't say volatile, but explosive move to the upside. But obviously that's going to need to break above this area here at 43.95, just round that off to 4,400. So we need to regain 4,400, build a base there, then you have a fairly decent medium term move to the upside to come and challenge these all-time highs here. Okay, so that's the long-term outlook, and oscillators, diversions, everything here on the weekly is screaming at that. We're in this zone of chaos. And if you just look left, you can see what I'm referring to, all these tails that are inside the zone. That to me is a zone of chaos. We're busy forming an inside bar here. And remember what I said in the beginning of the week, this looked very much like an exhaustion bar onto structure. And the structure was a weekly level at 4,100. So that is the picture midweek. We have the Feds coming out tonight. We've got non-farm payrolls coming out at the end of the week. That could change it. And then we also have quite a few earnings still to come out. So that is the long-term picture. When we look at the 8 hour, this has been a strong move down. We're in a downward trend. We're looking to be short of structure, and we're coming up to a zone of structure at the moment. Okay, so be very, very cautious here of chasing longs, but at the same time be very cautious of shorts, and I'll show you now why. Don't forget to hit that like button. It does help us grow this channel. So here you see the bear flag, right? So I'm going to draw these levels in. So you can do that. And then you can draw this along the bottom like that. There's my flag. Okay, so flag is set. We have diversions that is formed. No, we haven't got diversions formed from there, and that divergence is broken. So sorry, no diversions at the moment. We're coming up into a zone of chaos, which you would expect a rejection, and we have a massive gap to the downside. This gap here is closed, and we've got a big weekly gap to the downside, and it hasn't been an explosive move to form a breakaway gap. So I suspect we are due for some bad news or some catalyst or something which is going to come and close this gap. What could happen is it could just be weak and mild news, and you're just going to bounce around here in a big range and eventually close a gap, and then we're going to keep bouncing here because this is a massive area of support from a monthly perspective at 4,100. So we're just going to keep bouncing here until we get some direction. That is also another scenario. So Now when we look at the levels we need to be paying attention to, you see clear bear flag here. Oscillators group to the upside. We are stuck in between all the moving averages here, so that would typically indicate a range. And what you'd be wanting to see is a break below the lows of yesterday for this flag to be validated. Typically when I look at flag breaks, I look at the next level which needs to break. So this would be the next level. It's not in play yet, not until price comes below it and breaks it, then it's a level. So that is the closest one that we can see. You'll see a closer one on the 15-minute, but this is indicating be very cautious of chasing longs at the moment. Okay, higher time frames are saying be very cautious of chasing shorts at the moment. But for our purposes, I mean, if I take it from here just to close that gap, that's a good 340 odd points. So that's a fairly decent payday. Now, looking at the 15-minute, yesterday was pure chaos. To be honest, I mean, this is the level that I was referring to. You can see we did come and defend it a bit and then rallied. So we could argue that that was a half decent entry at the open. But when I see chaos like this, I tend to stay away from it. So that's the one scenario. That is also a level that I would pay attention to validate this flag break as well. You can see it was fairly important yesterday. So if we drop below it, which is 41.66, and come and test it, then you're looking for that gap close all the way down here, and my target there would be something in the region of that. I wouldn't chase the actual gap, I just chase the level, which would be there, and that gives me a target of 4121. So you can see, let's say we get a nice retest up there, you can have like a 100-point stop loss for a 400-point gain. So that's a 4-to-1 trade, very decent payday to the downside. So that's the one scenario. The other scenario, which could very well play out, is that this flag just continues, and if I just fine tune a little bit like that, so it continues to 4200, and 4200 is a big weekly level as well. So what you'd want to see is you want to see a base form. And now if I put another level in just to really make the charts messy, there's my base. It does look like it's formed it already, but moving up, get some structure here, and then I would expect us to hit 4200. At the most 4208. So that's the one scenario. Now I'm going to give you another different picture here. So with all this chaos, let's just delete that. Let's just delete diagonals. We don't get confused. Leave all the levels in, just nice and noisy. So get your vision clear. This level here at 4181. You'll see that's kind of where the gap was, right? Which is closed. But look a little bit below that. What do you see here? You see a big shoulder there. There's my left shoulder. Then you see this massive head. And then you see a double right shoulder here. Or you can take it to there with a single right shoulder. Nevertheless, that is the first scenario. Draw this diagonal in again, and you've got a flat top. Triangle, break, and retest underway. Look at this structure here. You've got a cup and handle. So there is a ton of bullish structure together with this flag. So your guess is as good as mine which way it's going to go, but I think what we need to do is be very cognizant of the fact that we have been in a downtrend. Reversals are typically, I'm going to go back to there, so reversals are typically not V reversals like this. So there's always a higher probability of it rolling back. Not to say that a V reversal can't happen, but on looking at the hour, it's looking like a V reversal to the upside. But I think it's going to be capped by 4200 or 4208, to be honest. Don't see any other. You can see it's a big weekly level here as well. So there's so much going on, guys. It's going to be an interesting one to play out. I think this is one of those days where if you are going to trade the market, be prepared to be wrong and be prepared to take your stop early. Don't sit there and expect it to go in the opposite direction. So 15 minutes does look like we're moving into the zone here. But when we get into the zone at 4208 and 4200, anything can happen. If we do recapture that zone, complete different ball game, because then I would say, right, we are definitely on the upside, and then I would take the measured move for the inverse head and shoulders. But for now, wait for the market open and see, and then don't keep your trades in over the Fed noise. That's just going to hurt you. Okay, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.